Hey everyone, I'm about to talk about rebuilding the Volkswagen Distributor. Some of these, there's a lot of them. There's many different kinds. This one I can tell you is from a 67, 68, 69, somewhere in there. Volkswagen Beetle, probably 1500 cc. I don't know if you can see the actual number on it. I can read it to you. It is 113905-205T. T as in Tom. Okay, this distributor will work on a 1300 cc or 1500 cc engine. Make sure that your carb matches the distributor. They kind of work together. You just can't throw on this distributor and just any old carb. They have to be in sync. Like a 30 pick 1 or pick 2 30 carb would work with this. All depends upon the vacuum. This one is pretty good. I don't feel any play. Usually there's play on this dog house here. As you can see, the dog house, it's kind of offset. So there's a special way that it goes inside of the engine. I've seen these being put in wrong, 180 degrees, where the vacuum's facing that way, or vacuum's here and then number 1 is way over here. So we're going to mark that before we take that apart in the process. So other than that, we're going to test the vacuum first. I'm going to test the vacuum, hopefully be able to see it. All you got to do is, and if the vacuum holds about 3 or 5 seconds, it's in good shape. You can see it go back kind of slowly. Let's see if I can make it move again, if you can see it. So it does hold. Again, that's probably that area. This probably needs to be cleaned. Should move a little smoother in that, but I'm happy with that vacuum. It's good. So we're going to be in the process of tearing this apart, and I'll show you how to do it here in a minute. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is pull off this ring on the bottom of this dog house. They call it a dog house. I don't know why they call it a dog house, but this ring is kind of easy to take out. It's no different than the ring you pull off of your it looks like your key ring. Got the spiral, same old thing. It's not, it's just a piece of wire. It's nothing crazy. As you can see, just go around the circle, just like your key ring. Comes right out. I'm just doing this slowly so you can see. And all this is meant to do is to be sure that that pin stays in there. The pin we're going to be taking out, if you can see it right there. I'll take this out of the vise. Pull out this ring. Be a lot easier that way. The ring right here. You can see it. And now I'm going to pull that pin out. But before we pull the pin out, I'm going to mark the doghouse here in correlation with this notch up here. And the reason why I say that is because your rotor goes in here like this, and then there's a notch in your distributor. I'll find it on here. Some have it, some don't. Yeah, there's a few notches there. That'll be considered, I'm not sure if that's the correct notch, but that'll be considered number 1 cylinder. I'm going to etch this here slightly, saying this is the area here. You see the etch. This is the area that I want to have correlating to this notch here. So when I take this apart, I'll know for sure. So to start off with, I use this center punch here. Center punch works pretty good on this. I got this at Home Depot or something. It's meant to put in finishing nails, but it fits perfectly in here. So I'm gonna hammer this through. Make sure everything's tight. Hammer it through. Pin's almost through. I'm gonna follow through with a, believe it or not, I think it's an 1/8 inch drill bit. Hold on a second. Follow through, getting the pin out. 1/8 inch drill bit. So let's see. Let's move this a little bit. Oh, and there's the pin. Pin is out. Hopefully you can see the pin. That's what it looks like. It's a press fit. That's why it's so tight to get in there. And now you should be able to pop this off. Be careful, don't lose the washers and stuff. Dog housing looks good. Make sure there's no shims on there. Alright, so now start taking things apart. I'm putting the doghouse in here. Pull out shim. Got one shim there. Let's see what else we got. It's the fiber washer. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. Usually those are broken. So you just have the shim and fiber washer. Okay. And the points have been removed already, so I should have mentioned that earlier. Now I can pull out the shaft here. There we go. Shaft is all the way out. Fiber washer sitting here too. Oop. You see that right there? Pulled on it and the fiber washer broke. So I got new fiber washers coming. They're kind of brittle. So that's what I was expecting. Usually they're totally gone. So then you have that. So the order is shim, fiber washer, then slide this in. And below that, it's fiber washer, then shim. We'll go through that again. Just to give you some mechanical outlook on this. You're supposed to have a wick in here, like a wick felt. And this is normal color for it getting hot. It's supposed to be a wick in here. And what happens is that you get oil from this little hole here. Little hole here. Oil gets shoot up into the housing. Goes up through the shaft, hits the wick, and the wick supplies oil all along the shaft. And these grooves here, I don't know if you can see them or not, these grooves here are oil sling grooves. So as this thing turns, it's slinging the oil back down. So it's a neat system. It kind of lubricates this whole shaft as it's moving, so it doesn't get damaged. But this feels pretty tight. All the bearings feel like they're really dead on. I mean, it's a little, needs some lube. But other than that, I've seen them where they're seized, have to replace a lot of bushings and bearings, and you don't have to do that in this case. So it looks good so far. So the next thing we'll be taking off is the diaphragm and a condenser and spring. Next step, we'll be taking off the spring here. I'm going to take it off this shaft first. It should just use your screwdriver, should pop right out like so. No problems. And it looks like the grounding strap is connected to it. So that we're going to have to solder later on. If you can see it, This grounding strap needs to be soldered to this housing here. I'm gonna take off this side here. Take off my glasses. See better. That's what happens when you get old. I'm not that old, but get older. How about that? Getting older. Some things you can't see. So I just take a pick, loosen it a little bit. There you go. Comes right out. Just looks like it's in good shape. You can see that. Look in good shape. So that's out. Next thing, we'll be taking out the vacuum here. Trying to lose these screws. I've lost many of these screws. Stretching all their pain. Okay. Alright, come on, screw. I forgot this one has a nut on it. Alright, the screw comes out. So one screw, so you can see it, one screw is longer than the other. You can see that. Reason being is one has one gets connected to the housing, of course, and the other one's longer because it hooks up the condenser, and it has a nut which also has that grounding strap that gets connected to the housing, in which we're going to have to solder. So now I can pull this out. Just, you can see it here. Just gently bring it up, over, comes right out. No problem. This looks like a newer, I don't know, a newer vacuum. Looks like it's in pretty good condition. It says from Germany. So now it's that grounding nut I was talking about. That strap needs to be connected. So I probably will replace this wire here. Yeah, we will replace this wire and strap it in correctly. All that stuff taken out, should be able to pull this out. And this is really tight in there. That's tight. That shouldn't be that tight. So let me get my other tools and I'll pull that out. I have to mention, there's a felt I was talking about earlier. It wraps around on the inside of the housing. This one looks like it's in pretty good shape, so I assume that this was rebuilt maybe way back in the day, and it still has held up. So this felt is pretty good condition. I've seen them all torn, but this felt, if I can find it, felt sits up in here. That's what I was talking about. And the oil wicks up onto this felt, and eventually the oil makes its way up here, and as this is turning, it brings this oil sling groove, brings it back down. So yeah, this is a good find. I'm happy that looks good. I'll probably use that again. So it's got oil on it. You can, once it squeezes, it's got oil on it, which is good. It's easy to put back in. It just twist it this way and slide it right back in. I still need to get this piece out. This is still kind of tight to be turning. It's too tight. So gently take that out. Hold on a second. Let's try it this way. I don't want to mess it up. There we go. This hole I'm yanking on with these pliers. This hole right here. Hopefully you can see it. What I'm doing, I'm just going back and forth, lifting up at the same time. Yep, come right out. Yeah, it's got a little bit of dirt and junk in it. So that's out. Still, it's not bad. I've seen worse where they jiggle around, and that's not good either, but this definitely needs a good cleaning. And what's left, you have to pull out this condenser. It's a condenser plug. So this you can just squeeze, just yank back and forth. Should come right out. I should get better pliers than this, huh? I'm gonna replace this anyway, so I don't care how bad this gets messed up. Let's try this one. Yeah. These are not the easiest to get out, and they're not meant to come out that easy. But oh, so that's all that's left. It's just the housing. These are, I know if you're just wondering, these are just plugs. I'm not gonna take them out. Those are just plugs. I don't know what they're for. They may be for a different orientation, where to put the plug for the points. But I'll leave it alone. I'm gonna clean up this housing best I can. For overall, it looks pretty good. So hopefully, you guys have the same type of luck. You find a distributor is in good shape like this, and especially the housing. I see them out of round and all that kind of stuff. But one way to find out if it's out of round, just take your distributor cap and sit on top, and sort of locks in, which is good. If that doesn't work that way, then it's out of round. Sometimes you'll see it fiddle with it, and it's out of round. Either it's been out of the car, somebody stepped on it. Yeah, weird things happen. So other than that, I'm going to clean this up. The next step will be cleaning everything up. I may polish the housing, I'm not sure yet. Clean it all up, replace the fiber washers, and away we go. Process of rebuilding. I finally got the fiber washers. I got all the replacement parts in. The fiber washers came in. Putting side by side here. So the way I oriented, this is the bottom working the way up. Again, about the striker distributor striker plate has a shim below it. Don't forget it or lose it. I still have to solder this on to the striker plate, which will get soldered to right there, that black area. That's already soldered on there pretty good. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. If you can see that this is the old felt, this is the new felt. These are all I have to cut this correctly, and to match it, it should be the same diameter, close to it. It looks a little thicker, but it's only because this has been oil. Oil will swell this a little bit. So I think I'm just going to use the old one. The old one looks like it's in excellent shape. It's not even ripped. It's not even torn. It's in great shape. So I'm just going to use the old one. Nothing wrong with using older parts as long as they're in good condition. I also got Bosch. I believe this may be condenser, and this is the points. I only use Bosch stuff. It seems to outlast the other things, the aftermarket stuff. So here we are. So we're in the process of rebuilding, and I cleaned this up. I was going to polish this, but I polished it a little bit. I didn't want to get too crazy. It's clean inside out. Clean this diaphragm as well, vacuum diaphragm. So we're going to assemble. Before we assemble, I'm going to grab some stuff to make sure we have oil and lube and make sure it's all good to go. I'm going to stick this felt back in. This felt, you turn it in like this, and there's like a space in here. It's hard to see. There's like, without me tearing this apart or cutting it in half, there is a space in here that allows for this to sit, for the felt to sit into. So I'm going to put this in first. And you can't see it. I may have to see if I can get a flashlight down on this. You see the felt in there, and there's a pocket. You see, if you can see the pocket right there, that's where the felt sits into. This already has oil impregnated on it. If you had a new one like this, I would definitely soak it in oil for a little bit. This one needs to be cut to the right size, but soak it in oil, then shove it in there. But this one is not down far enough, so I gotta clean this off. I keep getting little pieces of the brittle pad. Okay, now it's down in that groove, and you just kind of hard to do this at the same time. If you can see it, this flashlight's not gonna hold up. You can see it. The groove is right there, that little pocket, and you take a screwdriver or a pointy object and you just circle it around. That way it hits the outer walls like it should before you put the shaft in. And that looks like that's in good shape there. So now I'm going to put in the shaft. Okay, ready to, after you got the felt in, ready to put in the shaft. Before we do that, we're going to add the shims first. So this is from bottom to top. These are different size shims, so try not to mix these up. So shim goes in, top shim goes in first, then your fiber washer, just like so. You can see that? Shim, then fiber washer. Now we'll stick this in. Before we stick it in, we're going to add a little bit of oil to the shaft. Only to the shaft, not to this here, just to the shaft. Like so. Don't have to be much, just enough. When you get it through, but you don't want to catch the felt, so put it in slowly. My hands are a little greasy doing this, so there we go. Let's pull this out, make sure I didn't catch. Well, you'll be able to tell by then, but the felt's still in there, still intact. Pushing this through. Okay, so easy. There we go. That feels good, nice and smooth. Very good. Good to go. Should spin freely. That feels really good. Now we can install the other shims. We can install the new fiber washer and shim. And that's good. Now I just gotta put it on the vise there. Feels really, it's even better. It's good shape there. Now put in the doghouse. Remember we scribed, or I scribed the housing or the dog, driving dog. Get that name right because I keep getting it wrong. Driving dog. It's scribed right here, if you can see it, right there, and that gets oriented according to where the notch is, just like that. Now I'm ready to put the pin in, but before I put the pin in, I should and you could do this either way. If you want to put this rubber in, you could do it with the this driving dog on, but I'd rather do it without it. Just for me personally. So I'll get a little bit of oil on here, so it's just smoother to get it on. So it goes on this way. You can actually accidentally turn it inside out, and that's not the right way. You want to make sure that the profile is like it's like a corner that's facing outwards. That's how this is. I think they call this a DO ring, if I'm not mistaken. Don't worry, you're not going to break it. Just slide it on, and there it is. Make sure that the corner is facing out. Pretty good. Again, this is another new old stock piece. I'll have a number on display for that. Now ready for the make sure everything's in there. Fiber washer, then shim. Now I'm ready for the dog, driving dog. It's going to see the etch right there. It's in correlation with this notch right here. Well, that's the notch, the etch, and now I'm ready to install my pin. So once I install my pin, it should be good to go. It's time to put in the pin. Let's see if I can get it started here. The etch, that spot. Get her started. Okay. What I'll do is just stick it in the vise. To grab my hammer. Okay, I'm about to stick in the pin. Put it in the vise. Put the driving dog in first. Then I added the distributor. Stuck the pin in. As you can see, the etch is still there. I don't know if you can see it or not. The etch is still there. The notch is there. So I'm in the right spot. So I'm going to, you start off with this, using this guy here, hammering it in, and you'll know if you're not getting in right. It won't go at all, but this should go in pretty easy. It's going in. To the dog, driving dog here, just spirals on like a keyring. There's no issues. I know you see a couple nicks here, but that, I believe that was there before. Not sure. Not sure if that's hammering, but this is made out of steel, so it'll take a lot to break that. Even the shaft's made out of steel. So the next step is to add the vacuum to this. So we're gonna put in the vacuum. Goes in like so. Captures that hole right there. Captures that hole right there, as you can see. And then the other side takes a screw, but then the nut is on the inside here. As you can see, capture that nut there. So before we start mounting everything, get this out. This vacuum needs to go on top of that peg, like so, just like that. Slips right on. Once that's on, then you can add your screws. So we add this short screw. Short screw goes in this hole here. So then this condenser gets put in that peg. You can see it right there, just like that. And the screw, that's why the screw's long. It has to hold the condenser along with that nut over here. Start this. This gets a little difficult. Might have to get pliers to hold that nut on. Okay, let's tighten on there. Make sure that this wire is not pulling when it gets engaged. As long as it has some kind of service loop, that's a good loose wire there. What happens, it'll pull it right out if it's too tight. So make sure there's a service loop. So when this is engaged, that's fine. It's got a nice little service loop there, but when it gets to reset, it cannot be tight. This cannot be tight, or you'll break the ground strap off. To resolder it again. So now what's left is the points. The condenser. Now it's left is put in the condenser plug. If you can see it, it has this kind of square notch here that goes in between these two here. If you can see it, that's how this gets put in, so this doesn't twist. So just push it in. That's sealed. To ensure it, I would put the screwdriver, just press slightly on it. That's definitely in. So now it's in between those two bosses there, and that's how it should be on the inside. Keeps the oil or any dirt getting in through there. What's left is the points. Some of the distributors have a peg that comes out of here and it takes a different set of points. This one has a peg on the bottom and it has a hole for alignment. It's like alignment pin. There's an alignment hole there. Gets put in right into the hole so it doesn't move at all. And what you do is add the screw. I don't want to drop the screw, but so I can get the screw in there. Sometimes it's a lot easier to pull the points out. And some of the points, they come with the screw and it has like a little locking washer on the back of it, so it stays with. So about to put the points in here. Put the alignment pin there. Now attach the screw. I'm gonna put it in loosely because I have to adjust the points, but I have to get my meter to do that. Not my meter, my feeler gauge. I'll put it in the vise, a lot easier to deal with. So let's see here. Give me a second. Okay, gonna set the gap for this, just to check it. 16 thousandths of an inch. Grab a screwdriver. It's got a huge gap in it right now. Make sure you're on the highest lobe. Kind of hard to see with my hands in the way. Put the feeler gauge in. Loosen the screw slightly. It should move slightly back and forth, and that should be it. There's your gap. There's your gap set. Just check it. Goes in there pretty good, and you're good to go. That is the gap. Okay, now that we have the gap set, just want to show you as the driving dog moves and the engine, you can see the gap open and close for the points. That's how it operates. So the last thing I'm going to do is add grease to this lobe, and we'll use the dielectric grease that we used before. That's perfect for that. Add grease to this, and this is ready to be installed. Installed into your car. Again, we talked about earlier that this being with rotor in, firing cylinder 1 here. There's a notch there. That's how your doghouse is going to go in. Your doghouse face this way. It's going to slip right in, and then once that's in, of course, add your rotor, whatnot. Put in your wires and good to go. Set timing. So this timing, just to go over the timing again, if you're using this distributor, the 113905-205T, this gets set at 0 degrees top dead center. There's other ones that get set 7.5 degrees before top dead center, but it's not the case. Also, using this distributor, you should use a 30 pick 1 or 30 pick 2 carburetor. That way they're in sync, they can pull the proper vacuum that you need. So again, thanks for watching, everyone. Please subscribe. I'll add more videos. I do have a Volkswagen restoration I'm going to be doing here in the fall, so stay tuned for that.